Hello, all. This is Dr. Dave Mastak talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3, and in this particular video, I actually want to talk to you about what every business actually needs to be successful. And I'm also going to point out that virtually nobody's ever going to do this. And so this sets you up for the long run. So I'm actually a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. And this is part of my Strategy Saturday series where I just provide helpful tips and tricks for people that are trying to grow their business. All right, so what is it that you need to be very successful when you run your own business? And why do most people actually don't do this? What's going on here? So the key to creating your successful business is actually just to waste resources, waste your time, waste your energy, waste the money that you actually make. And the key is you have to waste your money and time and resources in the right way. And I'm going to sort of talk to you about what I mean here. So what am I talking about with wasting resources? Think about all the things that are major and the most impressive things that have ever been done in this world, right? If you think about the space race or the race to the moon, right? That was a complete financial disaster, and it will continue to be a complete financial disaster by any stretch of the imagination. It is virtually just not worth it for our country to pursue, or any country to pursue, any sort of space race, right? Just financially does not make any sense. The Statue of Liberty, right? That wonderful gift that France gave to the United States. Really amazing stuff, but that was a complete waste of resources, right? There was no financial return. It would have cost them a lot of money at the beginning. Building any sort of subway system under, say, New York City, for example, or any major city, that is a waste of resources. And it actually takes a long time to get any of this stuff built because people perceive it as a waste of resources, that they're wasting time and money and effort to build any major project like this. Anything that you build in your culture. I mean, think about think about Amazon, right? They did not make any sort of money for years. They were not profitable for years. They're wasting their money. They're wasting their resources. Think about anything that you do in a business that is related to building a culture or building your business. It is a complete waste, right? So think about gifts, think about parties, think about training sessions for employees. Think about, giving gifts to your customers. Those are all complete wastes of money. Any sort of marketing effort is a complete waste of money. Anything that you invest in research and development and look at research and development, it's a complete waste of money. It's not going to feel like you are making all this money from this particular thing at that moment. It's going to feel very negative, and it's going to feel like a waste of resources until you get the habit of it, right? But that's another story. So why does it actually lead to success, right? So why do you actually need to waste resources to make your business into a little bit more successful, right? What is happening is, so it's going to feel like when you're building this and you're doing this, it's going to feel very negative. You're going to be like, oh my God, why am I doing this? This is wasting my time, my effort, and I have no financial return from this. Right? What you are doing is actually investing in the future and investing for the future. And there is no way that you're going to recoup your costs and anything that is major or significant enough until the time has come, right? So the space race, for example, the United States and the rest of all the world's countries that are doing the space race, they're not going to benefit anything from any sort of scientific advancements in the next 15, 20 years from the stuff that they're doing right now. They're looking to invest and grow their economy based on this being a 50 to 100-year return, right? And that is by the time you're actually dead and those people actually did the space race and they've died off, that's when you're going to benefit from that particular investment. And anything like that, anything where you're investing or you're building something is going to feel like a waste. So building your culture, right? Going out and giving helpful tips and tricks, right? Like this, and providing sort of content for the interwebs is going to feel like a complete waste of time and effort, right? It's going to require a lot of upfront effort, and it's probably not going to pan out for, a couple of years in terms of something actually giving back, right? And actually becoming a good thing for you to do, or that you should have done 2 to 3 years ago. If you think about building your particular culture, right? So if you're building your culture and you're giving gifts and you're incentivizing people and you are thinking about, maybe having a party to make sure that people actually get to know each other in the office and, just have fun and enjoy their working environment, well, you're taking time and effort away and money away from the things that you're doing right now in the hopes that it's actually going to do something and make the company better in the future. And that is always going to feel like a waste no matter what. So I want to give you kind of an example of what I am talking about, right? So let's say you have a lawn mowing business, right? So, and you have a good client base. You can mow your lawn on a regular basis. You can mow 40-hour work weeks, right? And that's great. You're making a pretty decent wage, right? You're making, $15 to $25 an hour, depending on where you are. That's a pretty good wage. But you aren't going to be able to grow the company in any sort of meaningful way. What you're going to have to do is take about a day a week and actually not mow any lawns. That's crazy, right? That feels a little bit crazy to be able to do that. But you are going to dedicate that one day to one half of the day actually trying to find additional clientele, right? So you're going to spend about 4 hours going out and introducing yourself, maybe giving some gifts, things like that to other people. And then the other half of the day, you're going to be trying to hire and look for other people that you can hire and grow and do those particular jobs for you, right? So that's going to be the thing. And it's going to feel like a complete waste when you're doing that, because you're like, I should be doing this. I should be actually cutting grass. But you're doing this other thing. You are actually growing your business and investing in the long run. And what that's going to do in those 6 months that you're doing that, you're probably not going to make a lot of money from that, right? You're going to make less money. It's going to feel like this is terrible. But in the 6 months after to a couple of years after, you're going to thank yourself that you actually did that, because it's going to grow the company a little bit more. And you have to be constantly thinking about that all the way through. And even with your own personal finances, you have to be thinking about that as well, that you should be looking at ways to waste your resources, but waste them effectively. So the key is to think about how you can waste your resources effectively so you can actually push forward and grow both as a person and a business, but, as well as maybe you're actually growing a clientele. Right, so that's an important thing to think about. So every major company does this, and every major company emphasizes a waste of resources on a regular basis. So 3M, Google are perfect examples of this. They dedicate 10 to 20% of their time freely to anybody or any of the engineers or anybody doing anything to those particular people, and they are able to just get out there and do their own particular projects. And that is not going to benefit the company any sort of way in the short term. That's going to feel like a complete waste of money, because you're giving 10 to 20% of the resources, your employees' resources, to something else that the employee is working on. However, that has been the start of many of their product lines and most successful product lines. So, for example, Google Maps, that was one of these sort of side projects. Gmail, that was a side project that somebody was working on. A lot of the adhesives that 3M's uses, right, or the Post-it notes, right, like that was just kind of a side thing that somebody was kind of messing around with. right? Like those things are not really, they weren't part of the core business of the company. And you have to be constantly thinking about wasting resources as much as you possibly can, and allowing people to waste resources and to experiment with different things. It's a really important lesson. It's hard to do. And that's why most people are not going to be able to do that, because behaviorally, you're going to feel like you're just wasting your time. And those returns are not going to happen for a year, 2, 3, maybe even 4 years out. And that's in the short term, right? Like there's very little benefit when you do this kind of stuff in the short term. And it's going to feel awful, and you're going to have a really bad reaction to it. And that's just a natural reaction that you're having, a natural human reaction to that, because, we are geared towards conserving resources as much as we possibly can. As human beings, it's a natural human response. But if we know that we can fight this and we can move beyond that and start investing in different things, wasting resources in different ways, we can actually grow ourselves. So education is a perfect example of this, right? Anything that you do in education is a complete waste of resources at that time, in at that time and place, right? If you go and do a college education, you're wasting a ton of money on your college education. However, the benefits of the college education do not happen in the next 5 years. They happen 15 years out. And then at that moment, you're going to understand that this was actually a good thing. And then you're going to be thinking back, oh, I should have done that, right? If you didn't do it, you're like, I should have done that 15 years ago. And I don't know why I didn't do that 15 years ago. But the people that did do that, and they were like, I'm doing this silly little thing and it doesn't make any sense and everybody thinks it's stupid. That is where the benefit is. And that is where you're going to grow in a lot of different ways. And it is going to benefit you tremendously and your particular company. So that's all I wanted to talk about in this particular video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up, as well as do subscribe to the YouTube channel. I do try to put out stuff that's interesting to businesses, right? So again, I'm a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. And this project is also trying to help out people in graduate school, and as well as writers that might find this stuff interesting. So, all right, that's all I'm going to talk about. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.